We are on the cusp, as I said, of the worst socioeconomic and geopolitical crisis on earth. And gold is the number one safe haven. Cryptocurrencies, they've lost their flair because if people weren't buying all of these cryptos, gold prices would be more than double what they are.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television, SBTV. I'm your host, Patrick Vierra, part of the outreach team of Silver Bullion here in Singapore, where we want to help you truly secure your wealth. Gerald Celente joins us today. Gerald is the founder and director of the Trends Institute and the Trends Journal. Gerald is the author of the highly acclaimed and best selling books, Trend Tracking and Trends 2000. And with a 43-year track record of identifying, tracking, and forecasting trends, Gerald is world renowned as today's number one trends forecaster, and you are going to see why. It's time to saddle up and silver up for Gerald Celente. Gerald, welcome back to SBTV. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. Now that I have you back on, doing even even better. Appreciate your time. Gerald, I want to start off with giving credit to a recent video you posted titled Prepare for a False Flag Before US Election. Can you share with us your thoughts on this false flag looming?
Let's go back to one of my sayings is that when all else fails, they take you to war. Go back to the World War II. What preceded it? The Great Depression. The Great Depression. This is from History Today, mainstream media. United States freezes Japanese assets. On July 26, 1941, President Franklin Roosevelt seized all Japanese assets in the United States. You know why? In retaliation for the Japanese occupation of French Indochina. Remember, the Great Depression's going on. Wait a minute. He stole the Japanese money because they invaded French Indochina? What the hell are the French doing in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos? And you got the nerve to call it French Indochina? What the hell are you doing over there? Oh, we're stealing their rubber, their tin, rape, pillage. Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, French Indochina? It gets better. Britain and the Dutch East Indies. Hey, wait a minute. Dutch East Indies? What the hell are the Dutch doing in Indonesia? We're stealing, robbing, pillaging. We'll do anything we want. We'll kill anybody we want for the money we want to steal and everything else. Anyway, followed suit. The result, Japanese lost access to 3/4 of its overseas trade and 88% of its imported oil. 88% of its imported oil? They only import 100%. And you cut off, they lost 3/4 of their global trade? Can't understand why they bombed Pearl Harbor. Blow me away. I didn't know this until 2 years ago. And this is the kind of language. Japan occupied Cameron Naval Air Force Base, 800 miles from the Philippines, where Americans had troops. What the hell are Americans doing with troops in the Philippines? And you being in Singapore and the British base at Singapore. Why, the sun never sets on the British Empire. We can kill anybody we want anywhere, but you have to say it in a proper language. Now let's go back. That's, again, when all else fails, they take you to war. Let's go back to the dot-com bust. Wrote about it in your Trends Journal. Right here. We called it We said it would happen by the second quarter of 2000 in 1999. We said it would happen by the second quarter of 2000, meaning 2000, and it busted in. We made the forecast in the fall of 1999. The dot-com bust happened in March of 2000. What? Little Georgie Bush gets elected. Nations in recession, NASDAQ's down, what, 70%? 9/11, war on terror. 90% of the people swallowed the crap, spewing it out of that little clown's mouth. We're going to get that guy Osama bin Laden, dead or alive. When all else fails, they take you to war. Let's go to Israel. Ancient history. Netanyahu gets elected in December of 2022. Week after week after week after week after week after week, we're writing in our Trends Journal the tragedies that, not my language, the mainstream media called Netanyahu's, quote, extreme right-wing government, slaughtering Palestinians in the West Bank, robbing more land, disgusting. And he tries to pass the Judicial Reform Act. 39 weeks of protests were going on in Israel before Hamas attacked on October 7, 2023. Wrote about it in details, not my language, the language of the president of Israel, Isaac Herzog. Israel, back in 2023, before Hamas attacked, was, quote, in a civil war. We write only the facts in the Trends Journal. 2 days after the attack, it came out that the United States and Egypt warned Israel that this would happen. They gave them a warning. And Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper, which we subscribe to, has reported that Israel, they knew that it was going to happen. They let it happen. When all else fails, they take you to war. Now, you ask me, here we are now in the presidential election coming up in the United States. All of a sudden, American troops are killed or whatever. The Russians hacked our banking system. They'll make up something to unite the people against the people that we've been taught to hate all our lives, the Russians and the Iranians. And that will unite the people, and they'll support the people in power right now. Again, 90% of the people swallowed the crap spewing out of the mouth of a little boy of nothing, Georgie Bush. We're going to get that guy Osama bin Laden, dead or alive. Yeah. So that's what we're looking for. Because this thing, the genocidal war, now of Israel's committing against the Palestinians, and Netanyahu has warned the people in Lebanon that you're going to suffer, his words, suffer, as the people in Gaza are.
Yeah. It seems like, of course, we have a few hot wars things going on in Ukraine. And we got trade wars going on. We got a bit of currency wars that are going on. You think this is eventually, it is going to expand into hot wars more throughout the globe?
Absolutely. World War III has already begun. Don't you? This is why I read to you this piece about United States getting involved in this war. There was a war going on in Europe and in Asia.
Yeah.
And they dragged us into it. 80% of the people in the United States were opposed to getting involved in the European and the Asian wars before Japan bombed Pearl Harbor.
I guess a question here is, how or why do we keep believing whatever is being told to us, and we lost that ability, as you say, to think for yourself?
You know, when I was a kid, and by the way, that my father, may he rest in peace, I had a great father and mother. Now that's why I am who I am, where I come from. And again, I'm a Napolitano, and I'm born in the Bronx, right after World War II, the height of America. I'm born in 46, the height of America. I get in a fight with my father, and, you know, he say, little bastard, You think I'm telling you what I'm telling you because I want you to become, what you want you to be like me? I want you to become yourself. And then when I started repeating the stuff I used to hear on the media, you say to me in Italian, papagallo, parrot. Stop repeating what everybody else is saying and think for yourself. And then when I get upset, I said, Dad, why aren't the people? He says, son, get this in your head. People have little minds.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on. People have little minds. The masses follow what they're told to do. Again, 90% of the people swallowed the crap coming out of a gutless little clown boy, George W. Bush. 90%.
Yeah, at that time I think I was one of them. Somehow the media, the government, they have a very distinct way of finding a common enemy that people will all fall in line for, and we're seeing it again.
Yep.
If you're enjoying this interview with Gerald Celente and I, please do consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. And if you are already a subscriber to this channel, please do check your subscription and make sure you are still subscribed. I myself have been unsubscribed from this channel without my doing or my knowledge, so please do check. Nonetheless, as always, if you do have questions about wealth protection, storing offshore, particularly in Singapore, or just general precious metals questions or generational wealth questions, please feel free to email me, Patrick at silverbullion.com.sg, and visit our website, www.silverbullion.com.sg. Want to move on a bit. You mentioned Germany in one of your recent podcasts, and Germany has come out and said that their economy is contracting, and we are hearing the word recession. With this, could a German recession pull down possibly the entire EU into a recession?
Again, tracking trends is the understanding of where we are and how we got here to see where we're going. And by the way, these are some of my books. Trend tracking, far better than Megatrends, Time Magazine. Trends 2000, international bestseller. Been publishing the magazine, the Trends Journal, since 1991. We only put facts down. It's not what you like, what you want, what you wish for. And you got to look at, again, tracking trends is the understanding of where we are and how we got here to see where we're going. Germany, let's go back to 2019, just before the COVID war. Germany was on the cusp of recession. That's right. Look up the data. The COVID war starts. They pumped in countless trillions of dollars. Government buying corporate bonds. There's negative interest rate policy. They artificially propped up the markets. They caused inflation by dumping all this cheap money in and artificially boost. Now it's going back to reality. So Germany's going back to where it was in 2019 and the rest of the global economy. Germany is the largest, as you well know, economy in the EU and the third largest in the world. China, the second largest. Their economy has gone to crap because of 3 years of zero COVID policy. The reality is hitting. Everything was artificially boosted up. And now the crash is coming. There's no way to inflate this because they're going to be lowering interest rates. That's going to bring inflation up, but that's not going to boost the economy that much because the people are busted. 3/4 of Americans are having trouble meeting their debt level, paying their debt. The interest rates, average interest rates on credit cards in America, nearly 22%. 22% interest when you're late on your payment. Hey, how about the mafia? Hey, whoa, hey. If the Italians were doing that, hey, look what they're doing. Oh, but the banksters could do it. The American people had to pay $14 billion in debt for late payments. Late payments, $14 billion last year because of the high interest rates. So the whole thing is going down everywhere. You're looking what's going on with Volkswagen, cutting back. You mentioned the trade wars going on. China's not, now China's retaliating. No, this is the beginning of the end. We are going through the worst geopolitical and socioeconomic crisis in the history of the world, part one and part two, because what no one is talking about, other than the Trends Journal, is the office building bust. You have an office vacancy rate, nobody in there, in the United States, in the largest cities, of 24%. Vacant. Your office occupancy rate, meaning people going back to the work, 51%. Okay, I own the office building. How am I going to pay my debt, my loan, when I don't have tenants anymore? They're all leaving. They don't need all this space. How are the banks going to cover the losses? Because when they dumped all that cheap money in and people started putting money in the bank, oh, the banks bought treasuries. Oh, you bought treasuries when interest rates was zero? They ain't got the dough to cover this. There's going to be an office building bust. It's going to cause the banks to go bust. That's going to be the greatest financial crisis, way worse than the Great Depression. But don't worry. When all else fails, they take you to war. We are on the verge of nuclear annihilation.
Yeah, Gerald, the more we listen to you, I think the more it's undeniable, because when you say when all else fails, they take us to war. As you mentioned, number three economy, Germany is having it rough. Number two economy, China having it rough. Number one economy, US having it rough. Banks getting into trouble. You even have them buying up residential homes where we might be living in a corporate home at some point. But this is very real now, what you're saying, because there really is no way out.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Peace on earth.
Amen.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they are called the children of God. That's according to Matthew, guys, right? The cover of the magazine of the Trends Journal this week is hellish are the political warmongers. They're the children of Satan. If the peacemakers are the children of God, the warmongers are the children of Satan. That's Celente, 1024.
Yeah, I saw that.
We need peace on earth. That's the only way it could happen. And we need a renaissance. You know, what followed the Black Plague? I mean, the people were killing themselves with the filthy sanitation. 60% of Europe was wiped out. And people realized they were killing themselves. They had a renaissance. Alla Romana e all'antica, in the manner of the Romans and the ancients. In the manner of the Romans and the ancients, to describe the quality of their work.
Right.
We need a renaissance, and we need peace. Peace is prohibited. I had a big peace rally up here in Kingston, New York on September 28th. Among the speakers was Scott Ritter, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Streets packed. We sent out press releases to international, national, and local media. Zero coverage.
Yeah. Yeah. It's same old media. But it's on one side we need the peace, and on the other side you're saying we have these people that are deranged, whatever you might want to call them. The thing is, they currently are the leadership of the world. I mean, they're led by pride, power, greed, more money, more power, more resources, more control over you and me. Is there anything that is going to satisfy this greed of this type of man or leader?
No. They're narcissistic, arrogant, self-serving pieces of scum. I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate. I used to work on major political campaigns in Westchester County, the richest county in America at the time. I got pictures of me with presidents, and we've been with prime ministers and princes. I was on the other side. That's why I know what I know. And it was the work. I quit. It's a freak show. Politicians are the lowest pieces of scum crap on earth. And below them are what people call bureaucrats. They're bureaucrats. They're scumbags that can't get a job in the real world, that suck into the political system, that become the most arrogant. What people got to get in their mind is that they are public servants. We pay for them. You do what we tell you to do. That has to be the attitude. Again, I launched Occupy Peace over a decade ago. And the foundation of it is close all those 900 military bases overseas in over 80 countries. What the hell are we doing over there as the country's riding in front of us? Bring home the troops. Secure the homeland. You want to go to war? Let the people vote. We don't have a House of Representatives. They don't represent us. They represent the people that give them money that morons and imbeciles call campaign contributions. They're bribes and payoffs. The people have to take power. Again, look at Switzerland. What is it? They, the people vote. Right?
Yeah.
People vote for what they want to do. And that's what we need here and in every country, not these little clown boys and clown girls telling us what to do. It needs to be that kind of a society where the people vote, not the politicians.
Right, right. Completely agree. I know you got to head out soon, but I just want to ask this question referring to gold, because you have been saying for quite a while now how you expect gold to really have a role that is going to be played as far as handling inflation and other things. How do you see the metal playing out should geopolitical tensions continue to remain volatile?
Go to one of your top trends for 2024. It came out on January 2nd of this year. What's one of the top trends? A golden year for gold. Gold is up over $600 an ounce. Over $600 an ounce since we made that forecast. Just the beginning. Just the beginning. What's very important, what goes up must come down, right? There's always these swings. In gold's rise of over $600 since January, it's gone down like at the worst downtime it hit, we would go down like $100 an ounce. That it has not had a big decline in this long is very important to watch. I started buying gold in the late 1970s. It was $180 or $163 an ounce. And that's when I became a trend forecaster. I write about it in the book Trend Tracking. When the Iranian conflict was breaking out, how they taught us to hate Iran without knowing how the United States overthrew the democratically elected government of Mossadegh in 1953, along with the UK, because he had the nerve to say that oil does not belong to Anglo-Iranian oil, better known today as BP, or Standard Oil, better known today as ExxonMobil. It's the Iranian people's oil. And Churchill and the CIA overthrew the government. People have no idea about it. They just taught us to hate the Iranians. And I said to myself, boy, I bet gold and oil prices are going to go up. And I started playing the futures market. That's when I became a trend forecaster and quit my job. So going back, we are on the cusp, as I said, of the worst socioeconomic and geopolitical crisis on earth that we've ever seen. And gold is the number one safe haven. And Bitcoin is now the cryptocurrencies, they've lost their flair. They don't have the flair they used to have. Because if people weren't buying all of these cryptos, gold prices would be more than double what they are. But what happened, like, for example, when inflation's skyrocketing, like places in Argentina, where it's like 300%, people aren't buying gold. They're buying tiny bits of cryptos to try to keep their currency from going to zero. That's ending. I'm very bullish on it for a long time, but I believe that now the safe haven money is going into gold. And also, much of the world has had enough of the United States geopolitical and socioeconomic hegemony. So you got the BRICS. We could see in the very near future a currency coming out backed by gold. Gold to me is no question about it. Nothing. And I don't give financial advice. We say this is what's going on. This is the way we see it, and here's our forecast. And that's the way I see it. It's going to be, and then silver is going to be, behind it. But silver is going to go up too.
Yeah, Gerald, just from this time that I'm grateful to have to speak with you, I think what I've learned after reshuffling the deck here is I think peace is probably the most important, call it commodity that's out there, priceless commodity.
You're 100% right.
Amen, Gerald. Thank you for that. And I want to thank you again. But before we wrap up, can you let the people know how they can follow you and get your trends journal and of course learn more about Occupy Peace?
We go to, and as I said, if the billionaires only put billions in bombs, if the billionaires gave billions to peace, we'd have peace tomorrow morning. And we do as much as we can, but we need money to do it. So that if you go to occupypeace.com, donate what you can if you believe in peace, because we're doing everything we can for it. And the Trends Journal, by the way, is the grand total of $2.56 a week. Nothing. And it's over 200 pages a week. And again, it's a magazine. You read what you want. You don't have to read the whole magazine. And you can listen to it, and it's in different languages as well. And there's no magazine that does this. They don't know how to do trends. Again, they don't teach trend forecasting at Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Cambridge, Oxford. You know why? They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to do it. We're the only ones doing it. So if you want to see the trends shaping the future and read history before it happens, go to trendsjournal.com, trendsjournal.com.
All right, Joe. Thank you. And once again, I want to thank you for being here, giving up some of your time. And you are always a blessing of truth. And I pray blessings of peace find you in every corner of your life and for the work that you do.
And thank you for all you do.
That was Gerald Celente sharing his views on the economy and geopolitics. To see more of Gerald's views and work, please do visit trendsjournal.com. If you like this video, please do subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Both are greatly appreciated. Audio-only versions of this interview can be found on iTunes and Spotify.